of the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in a handshake with the group CEO of EcoBank, and he says EcoBank reaffirms commitment to Ghana's development. There's also a photo of Thaddeus Sori, Alfred Abibi Okumi, Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, Justice Samuel Kwame Edibu Asiedu, and Justice Yoni Kolende on the front page of the news center. And the headline that goes with it says, Sorry judge's video still dominates despite diversionary arrests. Drivers, passengers clash, greet the 15% fare cut. And the VEEP in private jet, Ablaka's integrity on the line. This is a story on a lot of front pages. They are basically asking whether Ablaka would resign after his statement that if his party comes into office and they engage the services of any private jets, he would resign. They are asking for that. Now, still on the front page of the news center, cedi soars by 24.1% against dollar. British pound is 16.2, euro is 14.1. in the year to May 21, 2025, and declare state of emergency over Galamsey. Guess who is speaking? The Catholic bishops. Yes, they are telling the president to declare a state of emergency over Galamsey.
Now, the daily graphic for this morning says Galamsey President Mahama highlights progress, challenges, solutions. Business consumer confidence in economy surges, highest level in 7 years. BOG stays policy rate at 28%. Made in graphic, EcoBank Ghana Economic Forum it's on Wednesday. As economic prospects to take center stage. Then visa scam rocks embassy in US. Now, staff create fraudulent account, employees sacked. I'll tell you more about this when we get into the details of the newspapers.
Let me bring you the Ghanaian point. It also has the president on the front page. Effective leadership behind cedi's gain. Mahama responds to Baumia. Reduce fares or face sanctions. GPRTU to non-compliant drivers. Kotika International Airport is safe and fully operational. Ghana Airport Company Limited refutes safety lapse claims. And I struggle to eat and pay my kids' fees. Wound to me. Cries foul over accounts freeze and the house raid. And Ghana's reserves hits $10.7 billion amid strong exports.
Great. And the Ghanaian Times for this morning says, AU Day observation, let's seek justice for our continent. President Mahama rallies colleagues. Support Ghana Traditional Council task force to enforce ban on noise making. Ghana Manchet to IGP. And I see people disagreeing. Please, tradition is tradition. Well, let's respect the people, or let's respect the Ghana people and their traditions. Okay? There's a ban on noise making. Please respect that. Reduction in lorry fares, trotro drivers not in full compliance. Hey, Ghana. But I'm grateful VEEP thanks Ghanaians for their prayers as she returns home. Now, Accra Lions relegation fears mount after Hearts defeat. Gold Star Kotoko drop points, nations stretch lead, and Black Satellites to camp ahead of Wafu Cup. You went to the African Cup, you couldn't qualify for the World Cup. We are coming to do Wafu what? Let's qualify for the World Cup. Anyway, let's move on.
Let me take you to the BNFT. BOG amends dynamic cash reserve ratio, maintains policy rate at 28%. More stories. Consumer business confidence hits 7-year high. Lack of harmonized standards disrupting intra-African trade. This business leaders are speaking here, and the government must keep up the momentum. David Ampofo on what we are seeing with the petroleum sector, and there's also a feature on averting financial sector crisis in future. And the person who wrote this says it may require nuanced approach to risk-based supervision. There's also a story of the leader of My Life Insurance, Kuku Ishwama Yeboah, and the story says a legacy of excellence, transformational journey of Kuku Yeboah Ishwama at My Life Insurance.
And the Ghanaian publisher for this morning says, I live in Sori's mind, rent-free. Dami returns fire. Minority fired up for parliament resumption. And private jet vow haunts Ablaka. There's also on the front page, NCCE GHS step up child health awareness.
Now, the Economic Times finally, lending rates decline despite BOG's tight monetary stance. BOG to operationalize Islamic finance in Ghana soon. And Ghana's economy showing strong growth prospects.
And MyJoyOnline.com this morning, Catholic bishops advocate reconstituting electoral commission appointment frameworks. Also, 42% of mining firm workers are locals. That's the Chamber of Mines defending community employment record. UTAG UEW demands thorough investigation into gruesome murder of colleague. Ghana's exports hit $9.3 billion in April 2025, and Western Regional Minister orders action to halt encroachment on Ghana waterlands at Daboase. Mohamed Kudus scores to seal 3-1 win for West Ham, but against Ipswich Town. But finally on myjournalline.com, it says, okay, I think we can go to citynewsroom.com this morning. BOG to engage banks over reintroduced transfer charges after e-levy removal. Okay, and Brian Champong ready to redeem NPP. That's according to Andy Apiakubi. You know Andy Apiakubi? The man who led the revolt against Kemfuriata. He says that Brian Champong is ready to redeem the NPP. Yes, Brian wants to be flag bearer. No, he wants to be president. Yeah, that's the whole idea.
On the MPP front, we are told that Chairman known to me to appear before police CID today. And the Hajj Task Force is apologizing to stranded Ghanaian pilgrims, and they are saying they are sorry. You know, there is this story that says 2 people had lost their lives, and about 5 or 6 had been repatriated to Ghana. I've seen a lot of posts on social media giving us the sense that this year's Hajj has had a lot of problems. We may have to talk to them later and get some better and further particulars.
Great, which means we can get into the details now.
Yes, sir. And I'm starting with the Catholic Bishops' Conference story. Declare state of emergency over Galamsey. Catholic Bishops to Mahama. The story says the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference has made a bold and urgent call on President John Dramani Mahama to declare a limited state of emergency in areas devastated by illegal mining, widely known as Galamsey. In a high-level meeting with the President at the Jubilee House in Accra, the bishops urged the government to temporarily suspend all mining activities in the worst-affected zones, deploy military engineering units to reclaim degraded lands, and restore lawful governance and structures to the affected districts. And they've also pledged to support the government's fight against Galamsey.
Yes, but look, the state of emergency must be declared. And beyond the declaration of a state of emergency, Kojo, I tell you that politicians know how to deal with Galamsey. They know. They know the people behind illegal mining. Why are we pretending they do not know? They know. So, as for me, I say, enough. We want illegal mining ended today. It should have ended yesterday.
Yeah.
And so let's not know there are challenges. We know the challenges. That's why we vote for leaders. We know the challenges. We know it's difficult. I mean, so that's why we say, go there and solve it. Some have argued that the former government lost because of its approach towards Galamsey. I disagree, but if that is anything to believe, then it means this government has a lot to do when it comes to the fight against illegal mining. And it doesn't look like the government is doing much, to be very honest with you. You've been checking Google Earth, and we see the destruction of our environment. It is continuing. Okay, I mean, just over the weekend, Erastus was talking about how a police commander was trying to free Galamseyers. We know what is happening. Yeah, we're pretending everything is okay. No, the government has a lot to do, and it must get to work and stop this. There are challenges. See, then we adopt what you call Adanko Dada Adwe approach. We go and fight. We pretend we're fighting all the time, and the thing is continuing. Yeah. Anyway,
we need to do better.
Let me get to the Daily Graphic. And the story here that says visa scam rocks embassy in US. That's the Ghana embassy. Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has recalled all the staff of Ghana's mission in Washington, D.C. with immediate effect over alleged fraudulent activities uncovered in that embassy. We're told that some officers of Ghana's embassy in the U.S. were found to have allegedly created a parallel bank account to the state accounts in which they collect visa and other service fees due the embassy. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablaka, who disclosed this to the Daily Graphic yesterday, said a new team of staff of the ministry would be dispatched to take over operations at the embassy. He added that the officer who was directly found culpable in many of the allegations has been dismissed, and he explained that the dismissed employee, who was the head of information technology, set up a private company to which he channeled all embassy's businesses. Consequently, Mr. Ablaka said the IT department, which the dismissed officer headed, had been dissolved.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's good, but he must just not be dismissed. All funds due the state that were channeled into private account must be returned to the state.
And they must be prosecuted.
It's that simple.
Anyway, let me stay with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, since you brought us a foreign affairs story. VEEP in private jet, Ablaka's integrity on the line. This is in the news center, and the editor, Elvis Darko, is writes that the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Samuel Okudzeto Ablaka, is facing growing storm of public backlash and calls for his resignation following the resurfacing of a viral video in which he vowed to step down if any future government he served in ever chartered a private jet for official travel. The video, widely circulated across social media platforms, was recorded during the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So the story is giving us the instances. The vice president returns aboard a private jet, and they're talking about Ablaka's fierce record against jet spending, taking the fight to parliament, now the test of conviction, and they are asking whether he's going to resign or not. And basically they are weighing the matter, whether it's political hypocrisy or maturity.
I think I have that sound. Okay, so let me share it with you. I have that sound. Listen to Ablaka.
And do the same thing.
NDC banner nipa wodi animu no kofi fasa private jet bia na wo wa ban nimu you resign.
I'll resign because what
resign.
What may resign? Why should I stay there? May resign because the mayor is on principle and yet personal and yet say bia me time President Akufo-Addo and as I mean President Akufo-Addo. It's the principle. It's about protecting the public purse.
Hey, Sabra na education minister na oda olem kwise mo abe resign.
Oh, may resign. I mean, my head my resigning free appointments committee of parliament.
So that's Samuel Okudzeto Ablaka speaking on our sister station Adum FM with the Poku Arini. Arini, okay. So he says, as a matter of principle.
Yes.
Principle. He would resign.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now he's a minister?
Yeah.
When is he resigning?
That's a good question.
Or the principles have changed?
Because the vice president came into the country with a private jet. What has changed?
Anyway, let me take you to some very good stories here, and I'll go to the back page of the news center. You know, we've been talking about Ghanaian companies taking commanding height of our economy.
Yeah.
And Casapreco's net profits soared by 574%, and their revenue hit 2.7 billion Ghana cedis.
That's nice.
Yes. A company founded in 1989, 2025, doing so well, breaking into the African markets. We want to see more Ghanaian companies do this and scale and create the jobs we are looking for. Now, on industry...
But before you continue, you're talking about more Ghanaian companies doing this. More Ghanaian companies would also need state assistance.
Yes.
This is one of the few areas where I say the state has a major role to play. And I cite the German example, the European example. When the world was going green and the technology was becoming obsolete in Europe, they looked at Africa.
Yeah.
And when they looked at Africa, what they did was to come here and pretend they were coming to assemble vehicles. But the most important thing was that they wanted to look at where their technology will still be relevant. They identified Africa, and the German chancellor at the time, Angela Merkel, came with them.
Yeah.
So our president should be going on trips with Ghanaian business owners and be introducing them to other African countries.
Yeah. And you know, on that, introducing businesses to the African continent, lack of harmonized standards disrupting intra-African trade. This is one of the concerns that business leaders are sharing. So we need to do better with AfTA and intra-African trade so that we can take advantage of the big markets. Now, the finance minister is also pledging import restrictions to boost local industry. That's a story on page 8 of the news center. But there's another story. One Ghana movement condemns arrest of Adenta Kumi. You remember over the weekend, or was it Friday? Alfred Abibio Kumi, widely known as Adenta Kumi, was arrested. Now, the One Ghana movement, in a statement issued over the weekend, says that they are concerned about the worrying trend of intolerance toward dissent, warning that the state's approach threatens the foundational principles of free expression and equal justice. And they are saying that the state should not have arrested the young man.
If Justice Uniquelendi, if Justice Esiedu, if Thaddeus Sori, feel defamed by what Adenta Kumi has said, they know what to do.
They should go to court.
They should go to court. Did Justice Yoni Kulendi or any of these persons go make a case against this person? The point is this: when we repeal the criminal libel law, we found another law that says that purpose. That law is the publication of false news. And Suleiman Abrahima has written a piece, and he makes reference to how a young man reported about how people were being panicked and were, it was affecting the city. That guy was jailed 30 days. The same thing that Honorable Isaac Adongo said. Nothing happened to him. I do not subscribe to anybody being jailed. If any person feels defamed by what Adenta Kumi did, that person should go to court and sue him. He's not a man of straw. He has certain things you can attach and make him know that he just can't publish anything.
Yeah.
This whole attempt of using the state to intimidate people must cease.
Yeah. Well, let me bring you my last two stories, Winston. Page 2 of the BNFT
your
government.
Last story, yes.
Government to roll out 12,000 net metered solar systems by September. So that's just the headline. And if you go to Graphic Online, we are being told that 41,647 students have registered for the No Free Stress Initiative, and there are about 100,000 students, at least first-year students in our tertiary institutions. If 41,000 have registered, what's the way forward? How do we capture the rest? Do we have the money to pay? How do we pay? That's a conversation for today.
Great. So I'm told that it's actually Ekuya Boachiwa who had that interview, and not Pokuya. So that's just a bit of a correction with Ablaka. Thank you very much, Dominic Isiabwa, who's producer of the morning show on Adom FM and also producer of Ekusi Seng.